Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 13 Reckoning. We got a team here featuring Dark Knight Cecil, Lillicet, and Golbez. Before we get too deep into it, be sure to hit the like button on that video and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about the fight, who you brought, what you ended up doing for the different crucibles, what you think of Dark Knight Cecil. Be gentle. So we got a team here. It's kind of a... okay. I'm gonna level with you. This was a bit of a clown fiesta. Maybe not my best work. But I really wanted to use Cecil alongside his brother Golbez, because of course I did. And, I don't know, man. Turns out I've blocked a lot of good units that could have been handy here in other tiers. Kane would have been great here, or maybe Freya, I don't know. But, like, Kane would have been a great third slot for this team. I would have really enjoyed using him, but he was elsewhere. It's okay, though. We'll make do. Lillicet does just fine, carrying these two goobers. Starting with the big man Golbez, using his BT to keep us safe from the enemy force attack. This fight, I keep telling myself every time I start recording a video, I say, okay, don't just like review the fight mechanics. Like, at this point, everyone probably knows what the fight does. But this fight does have something interesting because, like, they get like 7% force gauge every time the player acts, which is kind of nuts. That is a very fast charge. It's pretty cool. And the mechanic, if you don't have, like, Dark Knight Cecil in the party, it can be tricky. It's, you have to below 50%, someone has to be below 50% health. So, not too many ways to have that maintained, especially since they have, like, no HP attacks outside of the generic one or their force attacks, which are, fine. The force attacks actually hit pretty hard, and if everyone's over 50%, then they just straight up kill you. And that's basically the entire mechanic. It's 3 waves, which is kind of annoying. Because you can't just burst phase your way through them, as you're going to see. Spoilers. But that's all right. That's just fine. You'll see we got through the first wave without force time, because they had a little mini mechanic in the first wave where once they go below 50% health, they will summon another strange head, I guess a Wario head, if any of them are dead. And then once they're below 50%, they die. Oh yeah, the worst time, 3 turns, and they can't be killed during it. And they get the instant kill if you're at about 50%. Anyway, that's the entire fight, basically. So let's talk about what's going on here. I still haven't used my FR, you'll notice. Still haven't, which, a little sus maybe, but basically, to be fully transparent, my original goal was to do a Final Fantasy IV team and have Lillicet replaced with Edward. I figured, like, having my support have, like, toggleable heals would have been pretty cool. In practice, his damage just wasn't there, and I was not beating the fight in 2 force times. Which wasn't a goal, but, with only 2 force time usages on the team, it was kind of essential. So, Edward had to go. So I was kind of playing around trying to figure out what the best way to do it, and what I was trying to do was, delay using my force times as much as possible, and it just turns out, like, it just wasn't doing the job. So that's why we haven't pressed the button until just now, and now we got the button going. You might be thinking, Blart, Lillicet kind of has an anti-synergy here with Cecil because she can heal, and yes, fair. Luckily, her HP regen is not that strong, so it doesn't really, that's not a problem, and her burst heal comes from her LD, so you could, that's pretty limited use. You're not going to be using that throughout the fight. That said, it can still trip you up. Now I'm jumping into my burst phase here because I have poor judgment and am not very good at planning things. I didn't really have a plan at this point. I was just like, let's just do this. This looks fun. Let's do the burst phase. Paladin Cecil, I keep saying Paladin because I'm used to using it. Dark Knight Cecil's burst phase is, well, let's talk about Cecil. I feel like I'm going to be kind of retreading some ground here, but basically, having played with him now, I can say, he's not great. Not great. He's serviceable. He will get the job done, but the problem comes down to his numbers don't make up for the fact that you have to be like at 1 HP the entire fight practically. I mean, yes, sure. You can find a way to hang below 50% and above 1, you get good luck. But, like, given how dangerous that is, he's giving you 30% HP cap plus like 20% for Zephyr, I guess, which is like a decent amount, but there are other ways to get that for, like, not keeping your, like, for instance, Strago has that, and the price of that is you have to use Strago on your team, which I guess is pretty bad. But Machina also has that, 50% cap, plus 30% from his PT, like, and, like, and I'm sure, like, you can compare other numbers, it doesn't add up. Vaughn has comparable cap, slightly worse, but, like, again, don't need to be at 1 HP the whole time. And his personal damage is fine. It's only really special when you hit his a full good launch with his skill 2, and even then it's like as much damage as, you know, it's comparable to, like, the other good damage dealers out there, the Renoas, the Pinellos, whatever, in terms of the number of HP attacks and whatnot. So it's a lot of work for, like, the regular amount of payoff at best, and that's not great. So yeah, not a huge fan. And the fact that his FR doesn't enchant is really kind of terrible, because it means you have to run Xande or, like, Golbez and Kayn at the same time, or, like, which actually is a kind of a cool tame now that we talk about it, but or, like, a Necro, I guess. It's kind of awkward, you know, like, just Dark Element without enchant is really kind of an awkward spot to be in right now. There just isn't that much in terms of options. I mean, I guess you could do something really silly with, like, Leon off turn. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off. Point being, I don't think he's really worth the payoff that you have to invest to use him, both in terms of, like, you know, the usual character investment plus, like, the team building you have to go into doing it. So yeah, not very good. I'm gonna try to use him because I like Cecil and think he's awesome. I actually think Dark Knight Cecil has some, like, the coolest aesthetic and animations and, like, stuff. Like, look at that. That just looks cool as hell. Oh yeah, we're on the final wave, going into the second force time now. We have frozen him. We let him get his force time off so that it'll, you know, drain, and I wanted to just let that get out of the way with the freeze so that we could not worry about it for a while, instead of, like, worrying about, like, you know, it having to time it. Basically what I wanted to do was I didn't want to have to press the sets or base call in the force time in order to, like, get the freeze on in time that it wouldn't kill me. So that's where we're at. This also means we get to punch him now for a while without him having any force time, so that's great. What else we got going on here? So let's see. Golbez is here, as you saw earlier. Partially, you know, just dark gimmicks and, like, you know, the dark damage and the Cecil flavor. Also, his BT effect let us survive that first forced attack from the Wave 1, which is pretty awesome. If Lilith wasn't here, he would also be keeping us, you know, safe during that from, like, potential HP attacks from them, like, you know, just having high eye brave or something. Luckily, Lilith keeps us plenty safe in this fight because they have no native HP attacks, so the stab just brings them a 0, and they're like, I guess I'm brave attacking you, which is just terrific. They have some annoying debuffs. I say annoying, they break you, so it screws up your turn order sometimes, which can mess things up, but it's not actually, like, problematic. It's just kind of like, oh, that's annoying. Roar, giant snake. Love that good animations. Yeah, I mean, that's about the size of it, right? Oh yeah, we have the Rains call there. You're probably thinking to yourself, that's a kind of weird thing for a launcher to have already, where you didn't use it for the burst phase. What's the plan with the Rains call? And what I was thinking was, well, Cecil's damage is pretty good, but what if we just, like, use Rains, who is just a better version of Cecil as far as damage, functionally, because he has the battery, he has the, you know, the launch. Technically, you know, his base fewer HP attacks, but then he has the jump kicks in the air, so for the single target part of the fight, which was the part that was tripping up, I figured that would give us the most single target damage to close out the force time. Never mind that it only gives us, like, 3% force charge on that turn you use it. I'm not actually sure if it helped or not, but that was my thinking. Maybe just, like, a Cyan call would have been the way to go, but I figured single target Cyan call is kind of a little sus. So speaking of sus, we're going to do something just stupid right now. I'm going to take advantage of my summon turns here, where the enemy force gauge isn't charging, to supercharge my own gauge. Because we are out of mitigation at this point, so if this dude FRs, or if this guy goes into force time, we die. So we're just going to go ahead and, excuse me, preempt that. Just barely, too. Jesus, it's a good thing I did that when I did, with the actual good FR. Lilith is here, spoilers, because I needed a good character for this fight. Cecil and Golbez were not doing it. I mean, yeah, Cecil checks the mechanics, but he's, like, at the expense of almost being killed at any given point. And Golbez just, you know, he's Golbez. We don't need to talk about this right now. Like, can we not talk about Golbez right now? but it's all right. We're doing just fine here. We're fine. We're okay. How are you? I hope we're doing okay here. Here we go, a little set. Blah, 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 blah. All right, Cecil, bring us home. 2%. I think we got this. There we go. Well, this was a bit of a clown fiesta. 3 force times. Love to see it. Just absolutely spectacular with the featured character. I'm sure a better team could have done a much more impressive job here. But most of my, like I said, a lot of my good characters locked elsewhere, and I really didn't feel like getting creative here. So I was like, I'm going to bring the synergy character, I'm going to bring Golbez because I want to bring Golbez, and I guess I'll bring Little Sight because she's good. But we got through it, so I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.